Hey troopers. Yeah, so this is just a quick video on one way you can make a maze box with some simple supplies and tools. First thing is to shore up your box. So glue the lid back closed. I use some tape here to help keep it closed for a while and let that sit and dry for a while. I'm going to go ahead though and trace the box onto my grid and try to center it onto those grids where I'm going to design my maze, and that then should fit inside that the box once I cut off the one side of it. So here I decide my pattern of successfully going through the maze, and I'm going to highlight it just so I can see what I'm doing. There it is. And now I've got to figure out how to utilize all the other boxes in this grid, and so I'm going to create some false paths and traps, and leading off of the main pattern there, or pathway. Of course it's not going to be color coded like this because I don't want to make it too easy for them, but this is for design purposes and planning. That's what engineers do, and so there I am. I'm making sure that I have entrances into those paths of no return. Next step is to create the walls, and figure out where the walls need to go, of course leaving open areas for the maze runner to possibly go down the wrong path and get stuck. So once I've established where the walls go, I need to isolate that so I can have a clear idea where those walls need to be once I place this pattern inside the maze box. So I go ahead and trace it, and then I'll cut it to size so it will fit inside the maze box. But first what I'll do now is go ahead and decorate it, design some kind of scheme maybe, because it's a lot easier to design my maze before I put it inside the box. For this one I think I'll use a butterfly theme where the butterfly has to find the flower at the end. The box should be dry by now and allow me to cut off one side, an opening, one broad side. If I need to fix anything like some of the tabs, this is a good time to glue it, and I'm going to use some clips to help keep it together while I wait for it to dry. So in the meantime, I'm going to make sure that the maze, the pattern itself can fit inside, and once I get it to fit, I can take the opportunity and paint the box if I want to, or do any more designing. I can also continue decorating this puzzle even after I've put in the walls. Here I go ahead and put a thin layer of glue on the sheet and place my puzzle inside. If I use too much glue in any one particular place, it may wrinkle, and my marble or whatever I use inside the maze may not roll smoothly. Now it's time to start making the wall. So I use the piece of thin cardboard that I cut from the box itself, and I'm going to repurpose those to make my walls. So I do careful measuring, and this is where the grid comes into play. Since the grid here is 1 inch wide, I go ahead, I can use either the grid paper or a ruler to determine how long I need. Make sure that if you're not using a hot glue gun stick, that you give yourself a little tab that you can fold and be able to glue onto the outer wall of your maze. So all I do is follow my predetermined walls pattern Since the grid is based on a 1-inch increment, it's easy to measure each wall segment and cut it to size. Measure carefully so that you can use one strip to finish one wall, but if you do have to build your wall with small pieces, just remember to overlap those segments of the wall so that it will stay up better. And don't forget those tabs. They will help anchor your walls to the outer edges or outer wall. And there you have it, your maze. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, or you think you have higher skills levels, then try incorporating a bigger maze or more interesting traps.